And welcome once again to another episode of Common Sense, empowering Volusia and all of America. That's what we do here. And my name is Jason Davis, and I am your host here, hidden in an iron bunker on the west side of Volusia County, Florida, hidden in the highlands, guarded by 2 rabid Pomeranians and 1 crazy cat. Gotta watch out for them crazy cats. They kind of get you every once in a while. Hey, all I could say is it's been crazy lately. People don't really know what they're talking about. And I'm not talking just, every average day Joe Blow, which is, let's be realistic. That's kind of acceptable if you do not deal with politics on a day-to-day basis like I have, or some of our illustrious colleagues in the other media events. You really don't pay much attention to things like, what's going on in big politics and little politics and just anywhere in general. So I happened to be listening as I walked through the living room here in the Iron Bunker, and I was going through the living room, and the Fox at 5 was on, and they were talking about an issue that President Trump brought up. And you got to give the guy credit. He does have a sense of humor, and it's sometimes a little dry, but I get it. Oh, and when he says these things, I just sit back and laugh, and I say, here we go, in case you haven't gathered or never heard this podcast here, I'm a little bit of a conservative. Yeah, that's really where I'm at. I'm all about, love, peace, let's work it out. Let's try to make everything right for everybody. I'm not in it to, destroy the world or the country. I'm just here to make things better. And that's what we do. Just like President Donald Trump making America great again. And when wasn't it great? Well, it wasn't great for for 8 years of Mr. Obama's administration. Let's just call it what it is. Our housing went to literally, I'm trying to be nice here, but our housing went to hell in a handbasket. Our interest rates went through the roof. Nobody could get a job. Unemployment was sky high. And then, he lost so many manufacturing jobs to foreign countries. And he even said, and I'll put this to rest for everybody, he even said after, before President Trump was elected, well, I hope he has a magic wand somewhere to bring all these jobs back here, because it's just not going to happen. The economy's not that good. And lo and behold, he found that magic wand. It's called negotiation. And it's called being honest to yourself and to your constituents and following through and doing the right thing. And that's the magic wand. Another part of that wand is don't lie. And if you're saying you're going to do something, do it. Very simple. But anyways, back to the president. He really kind of makes me laugh a little bit every once in a while. He tweeted out, and I fortunately or unfortunately, I do not get his tweets because I'm not on Twitter. It's just, I got so many things going on, I don't have time. But he tweeted, and I did see the tweet because it gets posted on Facebook. I do have Facebook, so I get onto Facebook and watch. And he tweeted out that he was, we'll go for 2020, and then we'll run again for 2024 and 2028, and we'll get as many terms in as we can. And the liberals' heads exploded in the media, and it was quite a funny thing to watch their heads explode. It was just absolutely funny. So, let's put this all to rest. Apparently, the people, and I use the term loosely, colleagues of mine that work in ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, and all those guys, they need to actually use some of the education they're supposed to have and do a little research. Because passed by Congress in 1947 and ratified by the states on February 27, 1951, the 22nd Amendment limits an elected president to 2 terms in office, a total of 8 years. However, it is possible for an individual to serve up to 10 years as president, and that would be in the event that a president was removed midterm, the vice president would take over, and he would serve for 2, but he wasn't elected to that position, so he could run, be reelected as the president, and run again. That's the only difference. And it was quite funny because, as I started to say, I was walking through the Iron Bunker and through the living room in the Iron Bunker here, and I was watching Mr. Juan Williams on the Fox News, the 5 at 5. Just happened to walk through the room when they were talking about this issue, and I was giggling as I was going through until I heard the most outrageous statement I've ever heard. Once again, liberals, Democrats, that Constitution, read it. You'll understand it. Because Mr. Juan Williams said, well, President Trump talks about Article 2 of the Constitution, which does create the executive branch, the president, and his office and all he does. So, and I know that he said, and this is what he said, and the 2-term limit is in the Article 2. Couldn't be farther from the truth, sir, Mr. Juan Williams. I am calling you out because it is the 22nd Amendment, not Article 2 of the Constitution. And if you remember, in the 1940s, Franklin Delano Roosevelt had 3 terms. He died in his 3rd term, but he had 3 terms because at that time, the president could serve as many terms as he wanted. There was no limitation. Nobody would think, the founding fathers never thought that somebody would want to be the president for 40 years. Nobody thought that would ever happen. And it wouldn't. But it's the 22nd Amendment, And then so as we are discussing this matter and moving on, excuse me there, as we're doing on, I was relaying another story here to you, that I was out and about one day, 3 months ago or so, 4 months ago, and I was meandering around, and there were some people running around on the corner here in one of our local cities, and they had the signs out that said, impeach Trump, impeach Trump, impeach Trump. You want Trump impeached, you want Trump impeached. And I was happened to walk by, and they looked at me, and they said, you want Trump impeached? I said, yeah, go Pence. And they almost fell down. What do you mean? They said, if Trump is impeached, Hillary Clinton's the president. Once again, liberals, Democrats, all you socialists, read the Constitution of the United States. Because the United States presidential line of succession is the order in which officials of the United States federal government assume the powers and duties of the office of President of the United States. If the incumbent president becomes incapable, dies, resigns, or is removed from office via impeachment by the House of Representatives, assassination, or a subsequent conviction in a trial by the Senate, president succession is referred to multiple times in the United States Constitution, Article 2, Section 1, Clause 5, as well as the 12th Amendment, 20th Amendment, and 25th Amendment. The Article 2 succession clause authorizes Congress to provide for a line of succession beyond the vice president, which it has done on 3 occasions. The current Succession Act was adopted in 1947 and last revised in 2006. So here is your order of progression. If the president is impeached or something happens to Mr. Trump, the vice president assumes the office of president. But now we have these people hate the Republican conservatives so much that I'm sure they'll immediately push for impeachment. So the Speaker of the House of Representatives then becomes the president. And if for some reason Miss Pelosi, yes, it's Miss Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi, it's not Miss Ocasio. Even though she thinks she is the Speaker of the House, she does not speak for the House. That is Nancy Pelosi, representative from California. If for some reason something happens and she was unable to fulfill her duties, the president pro tem of the Senate would then become the president. And then the eligible heads of federal executive departments, whom the president, from the cabinet, the president's cabinet, and such like this. It's a long list of progression, and it actually goes through the entire House of Representatives and the Senate. And if we lose all those people, we got really big problems. So we don't want to do that. So there's your order of succession. It's not Hillary Clinton. So that was just something that really just kind of got my goat. I just had to laugh. And when I told them, no, Mike Pence is going to be your president then. Let me tell you about Mike Pence. Mike Pence is very conservative. He is more conservative than Donald Trump, and he doesn't do tweets. See, that's a good thing about President Trump. He is so transparent, absolutely transparent, and so has his administration. Did you know that Donald Trump and his kids that work as advisors to him do not collect a paycheck? When Donald Trump took office, he was worth $4.6 billion, and now he's worth $3.9 billion. He's lost money being president. Everybody else that's been president of the United States has come out there with more money than they ever went in with. Go figure that. Millions of dollars. It's like when Barack Obama was out of office. Okay? When he got into office, he was penniless. When he left office, he had more money than Davy Crockett, to quote Forrest Gump. He did. His paycheck every year, oh yes, he makes money. Well, yes, as president, he took his paycheck of $500,000 a year. That's what he got paid. Nothing more. He doesn't get a big, huge amount of money. I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's not like it's billions or millions of dollars. And if you multiply 500,000 times 8, that's $4 million. That's wonderful. Now, there's one little thing. If the White House cooks meals for the president and his family, they have to pay for it. Anytime they go somewhere that is not state business, they have to pay for it. Vacations, if they get on Air Force One, he has to pay for that. And the passage for his wife and children. Yes, people didn't know that. Being the president of the United States does not mean that the citizens and taxpayers are paying every single bill you have. That's not the way it works. You are paid to do the business of the people. And if you just do the business of the people, then your costs are covered, not your families. So when Michelle Obama went over to England and they shut down Piccadilly Circus, and her and the kids and the, I guess it was the new princess, whatever her name is, she were meandering around in Piccadilly Circus with all the security officers and everything like this. That cost money. Somebody had to pay for it. A little story about when Ronald Reagan, he was president for 8 years, and he was doing his thing, and Nancy was not cooking dinner that much because they were out and about and doing their thing. But when they left the White House, the White House staff came up and said, "It's been a wonder serving you, sir, and it's been our honor and our pleasure, and here's the bill." It was in the millions of dollars for all the food, all the parties, all the things that they did that were not state business. You got to pay for it. Not me, you. So anyways, when Barack Obama got out of office, I happened to look up his net wealth just because it was what it was, and it was somewhere in the 30s and 40s of millions of dollars. He was extremely wealthy. And I'm like, wait a minute. You made $4 million on the taxpayer's back. You didn't really accomplish a lot. You destroyed most of America. How did you come out with $30 million? I inquired about that, and somebody told me, oh, it's because of his book. I said, what book? Oh, The Sins of My Father. I said that was the worst book I've ever even looked at. I opened it up, said, well, maybe I need to read this. I looked at it. The first chapter was so disgustingly horrible, I couldn't even finish it. It was the worst written book I've ever seen, and I threw it away. So, there you go with that, folks. So before you start running around going impeaching, and you want to just remember that if you get rid of Donald Trump, you're going to get Mike Pence. Maybe now a little common sense just might prevail.